Welcome back to News at Prime with me, Timbekile Mkhototo. On the Saturday evening, government says 904,000 people who received their first Pfizer vaccine have not returned for the second shot. South Africa so far administered more than 22 million vaccine doses, and people are being encouraged to return for their second shot. Let's talk about why it's important to do that with Professor Hannelie Meyer. She's head of the South African Vaccination and Immunisation Centre. Prof, grateful for your time tonight. What is the risk if a person does not go back for the second vaccination?
You know, it's really very important that they need to go back for the second vaccination. The reason for that is, you know, when you get your first vaccination, your body takes about 2 weeks to start, you know, mounting an immune response. And then you only have like very low protection against getting infected. You have a little bit better protection against hospitalization, but your protection against infection is very low. And it's only once you had your second shot, which is 42 days afterwards, that is when your body, like a couple of days, about 5 days after your second shot, then your body has mounted a huge and much better immune response. And this is now in your body, you know, apart from all your antibodies, also your T cells, which is your killer cells. And then also what they found now in the latest research, it also gives you a very high response in terms of your innate immunity. And that is your natural immunity. And that can even protect you probably against other infections as well. Mm-hmm. So when you get your second shot, it's like it wakes up those, you know, initial immune cells that your body has developed. And then it gives you a much longer, lasting, longer immune response as well as protection. So it's basically very important. Yes.
The prime and boost effect, if I was reading correctly.
Yes. So, you know, your first, so with the Pfizer vaccine, you need to get those 2 doses. So we're not talking about a booster dose. So when you look at people who are very immune compromised and those who have chronic illnesses, those who are the elderly, you know, they don't mount such a good immune response. And for them, we're going to need a booster shot, which means a third shot. But for just, you know, the young ones, you know, the normal person out there on the street, not with any, you know, additional conditions or being immunocompromised, they need to get their second Pfizer shot. With the J&J, it's only 1 shot, but with the Pfizer, you need to go for your second shot. It's very important.
I wonder, Prof, this is what I wanted to ask you. If you think the 42-day waiting period, that sweet spot before the second dose, do you think that's possibly working against various governments who are trying to immunize as many people as possible? Because it's not unique to South Africa. Even in the UK, they had a stat, I think, a few months ago where they were saying 1 in every 40 people who got Pfizer were just not returning.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, people become complacent also. We must remember that. Now, remember, initially they said 21 days after your first shot. But now, then with research, they actually found that your immune response is much stronger and it lasts much longer when you get your second dose 42 days after the first dose, or even longer, you know, even longer than that. But yes, so people might become complacent. And what people need to know is your risks, actually. And I mean, studies have shown that vaccinated people are 8 times less likely to be infected. And they are 25 times less likely to be hospitalized or even facing death compared to an unvaccinated person. And now we're talking about fully vaccinated people. And also, when you are fully vaccinated, your risk of transmitting and infecting other people is 63 times less likely compared to an unvaccinated person. So, and you know, I always say it's not only about you being protected. It's also about you protecting others, those around you who cannot be vaccinated or those who are immunocompromised. There's lots of people out there. So, and if we want to stop this pandemic and go back to our normal lives, that will be the only way, because we need to stop that infection spreading from one person to the next person.
So what about, Prof, people who say, look, I went in for my first shot and the side effects freaked me out a little. I felt unwell for a day or two, so I don't want to go through that process again.
Yeah, you see, that is exactly like you say, no? I didn't feel well for a day or two. Yes. So these side effects, they are there, we know about them, and they are, mild, and they go away, like you say, within a day or two. So now you need to weigh the risks, What is your risk of getting COVID, landing up in hospital, maybe dying, infecting your loved ones who are maybe immunocompromised, your mother, your grandmother, against, being able to live with those side effects just for a day or two. And studies has also shown, in the trials, more than half of the people actually didn't experience any of these side effects. So it all depends on you as a person. We all are unique. One person might experience those side effects, the next person might not. Mm-hmm. But it's not to say that your body is not mounting any.
Prof, I'm not sure if you're still there. I think we may have lost you.
Your system's working, your immune system.
We lost you for a moment there, Prof. I would like to ask you one question before you and I part ways tonight, and that's about the second dose issue specifically. We have campaigns encouraging people to get vaccinated, to wear our masks, to be on alert if the side effects continue beyond the 48-hour window where you may feel unwell. Do you think it's time for a public education campaign that focuses solely on the message of going back for both shots?
Yes, I think so. Maybe a lot of people don't realize, that your first shot is actually giving you very low protection. It's that second shot. So, it wakes up your immune system, and then it mounts a huge response. And that is what is protecting you. And it also helps you to have a much longer lasting immune response. We know that, immunity is waning. So it's even more so important for you to get that second shot. And yes, and for people to understand, those side effects, they are there, but they are, they are mild, they're moderate, they should disappear within 2 days. And then the benefits that you will then have afterwards is so much more than, that low risk of tolerating the side effects or the, not feeling well for a day or so. And also, like I said, it's not everybody.
Prof, very good to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time, Professor Hannelie Meyer there. She is head of the South African Vaccination and Immunisation Centre. And apologies for the times we spoke over each other. I think there's a bit of a delay on our line. Grateful for your time once again.